Hello there, everyone. This is Big Poppa Shim, the ambassador of healing, joy, and hope, starting off the Healing, Joy, and Hope podcast. And I'm here today with an amazing dude, Pascal Delacaze, the man himself, who I met through ecstatic dance, which, for all of you who don't know what that is, we'll explain a bit afterwards. So I'm going to let this amazing man tell us who he is, what he does, and maybe tell us about some projects he's wants to put out in the world now.
Well, thank you so much, Seth, for having me on your podcast, or shall I say Big Poppa Shim. So that's right. I do ecstatic dance. I think we're going to explain that later. So I'm a DJ, I'm a musician. I'm excited about playing music for dance, for people to go deep into dance journeys. And as I said, I DJ, and then I also use live instruments. I drum on top of the beats usually. I play saxophone, and I do some vocals sometimes. So I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm for the most part, playing other people's music like a DJ does, but I'm making my own thing out of it through adding live elements and how I mix it up and how I use the faders and the knobs. I try to make music with that as well. What else? Yeah, if you want to, check out my work, it's probably best to go to my Linktree or my Instagram. You're gonna put that somewhere, I guess.
Definitely,
Seth.
yes.
Yeah, and I have a bunch of gigs and festivals coming up this season. Go check that out. Many exciting festivals. I just got booked for. I'm probably gonna butcher the name, but Vibrace in Poland, biggest conscious festival in Poland. And also one in France, and a couple of other nice jams. And I'm really excited about that. And I hope to see some of you or many of you on the dance floors.
Yes. And just for all of you who don't know, this is a very humble man right here, because he forgot to mention that he's like the number one ecstatic DJ in all of Germany. But maybe for one moment, just tell us very quickly in a few words, like, what is ecstatic dance? And am I correct in saying that you're one of the people who brought it to Berlin?
First of all, I have a little bit trouble with saying like I brought it here. So it is safe to say that we were the first ones to do ecstatic dance in Germany in 2010. And it is also correct that we were the second ones in all of Europe. So there was no ecstatic dance scene in Europe when we started in Berlin in 2010. What is ecstatic dance? It's basically a dance experience, a space where you can find your own expression and movement. It's barefoot, sober, and we have some guidelines, so we respect personal space. There's kind of a loose protocol how to approach people if you want to dance with someone. So other than, let's say, a club experience where people might be intoxicated, and there is also sometimes, unfortunately, some boundary crossing. This is not happening at ecstatic dance. It is very safe, let's say. I mean, of course, there might be someone who wants to dance with you and you don't want to dance with them, but then we have clear signals and, as I said, a protocol how to deal with these things. The music starts very soft. So if you're used to clubbing and you come to ecstatic dance and you're wondering why people dance very slow in the beginning to kind of drone sounds or meditative music, you might even hear sitar or flutes or the sound of the ocean. That's part of
all that hippie crap.
Yeah, sort of, yeah. It is a little bit a new agey thing, but many ecstatic dances make an effort to not be like too spiritual in that sense, to make it like accessible for anyone who just wants an alternative to clubbing, rooms filled with smoke and drunk people. Let's say that. So ecstatic dance is none of that. It's a sober dance, free of smoke. We don't serve alcohol. We serve cacao. The music does get more dynamic and intense. In the beginning, it's people dancing slow movements, stretching, warming up their bodies, and then slowly the pace picks up, and it can become very wild too, with drumming, drum music, even live drumming. Sometimes I do live drums, and techno, drum and bass, tribal, dance hall, bass hall, glitch, trap. All the really gritty stuff is also appropriate at ecstatic dance. And then after this, what we call the peak, where it's like really intense, kind of jumping around, sweating, comes a phase where it's a little bit softer again. And in those parts, it could even be waltz, singer-songwriter, reggae, something heart-opening. I like to call it the part where people like kind of fly on the dance floor like birdies. This is based loosely on the 5 rhythms. If you heard of that from Gabriel Roth, this was a big influence on ecstatic dance, and that's a movement map, and it kind of maps out the wave that I just talked about.
So cool. I have so much I could say about ecstatic dance, yeah, but I don't want to spend too much time on it. Okay, so Mr. Pascal, first of all, what's your first name?
Pascal. In my passport, it's actually Gustav Pascal, but the name which I'm called, in German we say the call name, that's Pascal. Even though
Pascal.
Gustav is in front of Pascal, but who cares? Just call me Pascal. That's fine.
All right, Pascal. Okay, so I'm going to explain to everyone about what's the format and what's actually going to happen in the podcast. So we're going to start off with a 10-minute guided meditation, which we're going to get ourselves into a state. I'm going to let it flow. I haven't decided. I don't decide beforehand like what's going to be in the meditation. I want to be like present together and flow, and but it's gonna get deep, and it's gonna allow us to get into a state where afterwards we're gonna listen to a song, a pre-chosen song, and we're gonna get afterwards pretty nerdy with on the music side. Like we're gonna break down the song, talk about it, how it made us feel, if it inspired us, what the musical element, the technical side. And then slowly we'll get a bit more elevated to the emotional element, the spiritual element, and then we'll let it open up into just a discussion. So
Great.
So let's do it. Okay, so I don't know if you have experience, I imagine yes, with meditation. So but I'm gonna pretend as if it's total beginner and like start and explain things, so just in case there's someone who's going to be watching or listening who wants to take part and doesn't have so much experience. Sounds good?
Sounds good. Great.
Okay,
Let's do it.
I'm also going to put a timer that shouldn't be too loud, but that can help us come out of the meditation towards the end. Okay. We can come back and open our eyes on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. How do you feel, Mr. Pascal?
Very good. Thank you, Sam.
Yes. Okay. The song that we're going to delve and dive into today is called Look at What the Light Did Now by an artist named Flo Morrisey with another artist named Matthew E. White. I never knew of this artist, and the gods of the algorithms of Spotify brought it to brought it to me, I don't know, maybe half a year ago. and I absolutely love this song. So we're going to listen to it together right here. I'm going to put it on. I invite both of us to also to close our eyes and just to like listen to the song and to like just let it wash over us, and then we'll get into it. Sounds good?
Great. Let's do
All
it.
right. 1, 2, 3. Yes.
Great song.
Wow. 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 Okay. So I'm gonna give us both like a minute or two to write down, just jot down a few speaking points. We're gonna start off with getting into like the song, what we felt or thought about the lyrics, the singing, the chord progressions, the composition, the beats, which instruments, like what really like breaking down as musicians. I'm also a musician. As musicians, like nerding out on the song itself, and then later we'll get into more of the emotional side. So
Sounds
I don't
great.
know. Okay, so I'm gonna write down a few points. Oh, where to start? I mean, wow. First of all, I don't even know where to start with that song. I mean, the beat is so tight and like heady, and the bass is like absolutely sick. Um, I absolutely love the perfect interplay between the two voices. How like there's this like perfectly kind of deep, almost like serious, silly male voice that goes straight into this like very high, flowy, beautiful kind of female voice, and how they interplay. And then and also the main, like most of the lyrics, it's hard to hear and understand what they're saying, but the main line of like look at what the light did now. And then later in the more spiritual part, I'll get more into that with you, but like to me that's like wow, so uplifting and inspiring. Um and then musically, like also the I don't know, I guess the composition of the parts of the song, where kind of like an ecstatic, where you talked about how it's about kind of building up and down. The way they built the different parts of the song, where it's not that long of a song, it's 3 minutes and 20 seconds, but it was like there was a beautiful like ups and downs, where there was one moment where it's just his voice, the drums, and like and then the bass line, and then goes into her point with like more music, like wow. And then there is a moment with like a little tambourine somewhere in there. Like they had a lot of, I think the mixing work on this song is excellent, like in the level, the volumes and the panning and all that stuff. um what else? And my one thing to say is, I don't know if you notice this, when the dude, when he finishes his lyric line and he says Flo, like he like passes off to her, because her name is Flo, so he's like, he says whatever he says, he's like Flo, like he's passing off to her, like they're a tag team of singers, like in the tag team wrestling. He's like, Flo, come on in, which is so cool. um
Yeah, totally. All those points. It's a great composition, and the part you mentioned where the guy sings, and it's a little bit less instruments, kind of like feels like just drums and bass and his singing, and the other instruments kind of more sparse, I guess. In that part, the bass, also in other parts, but especially in that part, it's almost like a bass solo. It's quite unusual for a pop song what the bass is doing in that part. When you listen to it, it's like, wow. I mean, we usually, like in this type of music, the lyrics, the vocals are kind of like the solo, or like the main melody. In that part, it is the singing is what you listen to first, but there's also another melody happening That's the bass, and the bass does some beautiful melodic work there. I can only
Yeah.
describe it almost like a solo.
I try to actually find out like who the bass player is on that
Mm-hmm.
track. You know, back in the day, like when music was records and
Mm.
you know the record had like the jacket, you know, had like the on the back, it always you would find in the fine print, especially like in the good old like jazz days and stuff like that, you could actually see who the musicians were. And
Mm-hmm.
like something that's cool about that is first of all, you could then maybe find that musician, but you know, it's like getting a feel for different musicians' flavors. Yeah, that bass line is insane. Like the whole time, it's very kind of bubbly and bouncy. It's like
Yeah,
it's great.
yeah. Very playful, very melodic, and almost solo-like. And uh, you just said back in the day, the song also has like something very 60s, 70s. Reminded me a little bit of the early Flower Power music. Kind of
Mm,
has it's almost like, what's the guy's name? Is that Jack Johnson, right?
mm-hmm.
Like a mix between 60s Flower Power and Jack Johnson a little bit, just to find a comparison.
Mm.
And with the classic elements also, there's, I think, piano, bass, drums, guitar, vocals, and then of course you mentioned already the tambourine in the
Yeah,
chorus.
which
And
you
yes,
only hear it come in like little
mhm,
moments.
yeah.
Um,
Also very playful, the player, just like the how the bass is doing something more like elaborate. Also the tambourine is doing like variations, like what you said, like like little
Interesting.
rolls or something. Yeah,
So it's
I
not
noticed
just
that.
like someone going like like a
Hmm.
beat with it.
Yeah,
It's very musical.
yeah, variations in there, kind of like rolls, almost like what a drum would do. And you can do that, yeah, with the tambourine if you're a good percussionist. And definitely these were very fine musicians in that regard.
Wow. And I forgot, like, I love not only the main line of like lyric of look at what the light did now and what that conjures up, which we'll get into, but um, the refrain where they go, do, 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 do,
Mm.
do, do, like they are harmonizing, where in the other parts, it's like man, male voice,
Yep.
and then
Yeah.
female voice, and
Mm.
but there it's kind of like it's together, and it's
Yeah.
just it's very kind of I don't I think we'll get into this a little bit soon. The song feels very mixed in its energies, like it's sort of serious in a way
Mm.
and deep, both musically and the energy of it, but then it's sort of very light and and like it's not a Radiohead song, you know, like like where like Radiohead for me is just an example of a band where there's tremendous depth musically, energetically, lyrically, all of it. But it's like serious and heavy, and this like sort of captures something both serious and kind of light and relaxed at the same time. That's what I really love about it too.
Yeah, totally. It's kind of like childlike in a way, with like, oh, look what the light did now. Look at what the light did now. And it comes so often. Like, of course, the light changes during the day, if you look at it that way, apart from maybe any spiritual connotation.
Hmm.
It's like almost like as if children are telling each other, or just people who are very relaxed on a Sunday, And then as the light changes, they keep pointing things out like, oh, look at what the light did now, and look at what the light did now, kind of like
It's like a
very,
discussion almost
yeah,
between like,
discussion.
yeah, in the
Or
schoolyard.
yeah, or just a very light-hearted conversation, and very relaxed, people at ease with themselves. And it's also not so easy to really put your finger on what they are singing about, apart from, it is about light and I guess the sunlight, but maybe it's also some sort of divine light. I did look at the lyrics, but I couldn't really say like what kind of song is that. It's kind of like a little bit abstract, dreamy, dreamscapes, probably some spiritual content there, but you would have to ask the writers, the artists.
Yeah, yeah. Because besides for that main line, the actual lyrics in the song, to me, aren't that great. Because the main line, like you said, to me, the main line inspires, and we'll get into this in a minute, it inspires some sort of spiritual concept, like some sort of positive energy of like divine light or something like that. But then the stanzas and the words and the lyrics are kind of like, I don't know, they kind of don't have so much meaning, as far like it was unclear.
Yeah.
Even the way they set the song up was like,
Mm.
you it's almost like they didn't really care about those lyrics as much as the main line, because even
Mm.
like the way they set up the song, you can't really hear those lyrics. It's,
Also, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. It's like, okay, they're just such great singers, and the voices sound so great. The whole musicianship is like what you say, it's super tight, it's super on point, but it's also so relaxed, I feel. Just like I mentioned before, like a lazy Sunday afternoon, and kind of like how Jack Johnson sings, like surfer dude style, but very musical. And this guy, I mean, both of them, they have such beautiful voices, and it's almost like the lyrics don't really matter apart from this, the line about the light, look at what the light did now. And everyone can have their own connotation, their own association, what they think of when they hear that line. But the rest of the lyrics is like you say, maybe not even that important. They're probably not gonna like it if they ever
Yeah,
if they ever
someone
see this
poured like
podcast.
7 weeks of their lives into writing those lyrics or something.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
like it's also not so super easy to understand. The main line is of course you get it, but the rest is, it's not like a song where like, oh, you listen to the lyrics and they're telling a story, where you're like, oh wow, I get it, or this really speaks to me. I can see myself in those lyrics. Let's say, some classic theme would be hardship in life, or
Right.
love song, heartbreak, or a newfound hope, or these type of things where there's
It's
like
very abstract.
yes, it's abstract, more abstract. Yeah.
So let's take a moment to go into the next part where what is the song kind of conjure up, maybe an image or a feeling, or maybe like the spiritual concept that you felt from this. And do we need time to write about it, or you kind of have already a feeling for
Yeah,
it?
let's just jump right into it.
Yeah, let's
See
do
what
it.
comes.
So let's open it up. Like, so to me, again, the main lyric to me means like divine light. Like, look at what the light did now, how like it's almost like it's a super spiritual um idea of like how the light means divine light or some sort of spiritual light, the light side and the dark side, like the positive energy in the universe, how it brings together people and families and all this good stuff. And Like even one of the lyrics was like, I don't know, uncles, nephews, nieces, or something like that. Look at what the light did now, something like that. And to me, it's like how so much good comes like in the universe, and also I like the feeling that the music actually gives is a very, for me, is a feeling of like it's uplifting, it's empowering. It's like we can do this. Like look how
Yeah.
good shit is, you know? And
Yeah.
I put this song. I'm like a bit of an addict when it comes to making playlists on
Mm.
Spotify. So I have this playlist called Healing. This song for me has a very healing energy. Like I said, it's sort of serious in a way because it's tackling some sort of serious idea of like maybe life can be kind of fucked up sometimes, but look at the good stuff. Like look at, count your blessings. Like look at all this good
Mm.
stuff around you, and it inspires for me um something very positive and light, and just a good feeling, like something grounded. When I say serious, I mean like it feels grounded, but also abstract and ethereal, and I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, totally. I kind of also see like the divine light, what you said, and then they're talking about family, how it comes through in how we treat each other in family. When sometimes there's just a lot of beauty, and that's also the light. Like when we treat each other with kindness, and we're not fighting, we're just very relaxed. Sometimes then I even mention to people when I notice, like, oh, now it's a very peaceful moment. Like everyone's kind of at ease with themselves and with each other, and it's a calm atmosphere, and maybe we're in nature or something, and those are very peaceful moments, and yeah, like very simple, very yeah, profane in a way also, but also so beautiful. And it's good to notice these moments also, to be like, oh wow, this is a very peaceful, beautiful moment. And for me, that's also the light, what the light is doing, maybe the divine light. It can be there for us if we are open for it.
I was gonna ask you, is there any like therapeutic or spiritual practice or idea that you use in your own personal life that maybe that helps you, I don't know, get through crazy times, or maybe that's something you want to share that you think could help other people?
Yeah, let me think. So for sure, I'm influenced by, like, yeah, the non-dualistic ideas, Advaita Vedanta, kind of like oneness. Yeah, not in the more kind of like hippie sort of way. Yeah, we're all one, and then there's like spiritual bypassing happening, like one with everything, also of course the darkness, the horror and all these things, one, like one, but also feeling like I am that, like in the, I think it's from the Vedic scriptures, Tattvam Asi is a mantra which means you are that, like whatever is outside of us is us too, like we're all one thing, not even a thing, because a thing means there's something outside of it and it's apart from something else, but like the absolute is all encompassing. And perceiving ourselves, or if I talk about myself, me, whatever that is, the universe in the form of me talking, I guess, to itself. If I perceive myself as part, like an integral part of everything else, just like a cell is part of an organ, and an organ is part of a body or an organism, and an organism is part, as a human of society and so forth. And there's the earth, and there's solar systems, there's the whole universe. Everything is made up of different parts and is a whole, just like the hand is part of fingers and bones and skin, and that's part of the body. And everything is a part of something bigger, and is kind of like these figures that are nested in the kind of these Russian figures. They're like kind of like that. You've seen them, right? So long story short, the more I ponder these concepts, the more I can get like a taste of what it means that everything is one. It can be somehow scary or confusing also, but it can also be very relaxing. Oh, it's not all on my shoulders, like. But on the other hand, oh wow, I have a lot of responsibility. Or I don't really have words, but it sometimes helps me to relax, and to also not take myself too serious, and to kind of come down a little bit. It's soothing for the ego, to not be too full of myself. Of course, I need my ego and the persona to navigate in the world. Like, okay, this is my name. We talked about it, my role in society. Okay. I need a passport to travel. I need a signature. I need a signature, bro.
Yeah.
I need it needs to be ideally the
Need a
same.
bank account.
I need a bank
Yeah.
account. I need to
Yeah.
take care of things. I need to pay my rent. I need to take
Yeah.
care of my body. It's clear. But there's so much more. Everything is much bigger than I am. And that kind of helps me. And another thing is I really want to avoid being in an illusion about myself, or the nature of things. The world is very confusing anyway. It's hard to get kind of an overview of what the fuck is happening, excuse my French,
Man.
in the world.
Yeah.
But also, like, the idea that I have about myself and even other people, I want to, like, for me, it's more important to, kind of get to the bottom of things, or, not take myself too seriously, and be like, I'm this and that, like whatever. Like, the image could be, how children,
Yeah.
they put on big shoes, and then they think they're grown-ups, or they go behind the wheel and they pretend they're driving, or
That's
they,
beautiful.
and we're sometimes like that, oh, I'm
Yeah.
this, I'm that. And when we pretend we're so big shot, and other people have to project on us what we like to believe about ourselves. So we need to kind of pretend, so other people can, like I said, project that on us, and then we feel we are that what we want others to see in us. And I don't know, maybe I'm making that up, but I feel
No, I
there's all.
totally agree. But what I understand from what you're saying is it's both sides. In like in in Jewish in like Kabbalistic and Jewish theology, I guess you'd call it, as well as like if you get involved in like the 12-step program, um, both teach the same concept that I've heard this in many teachings. Humility actually it doesn't mean to make your not it doesn't only mean not to make yourself bigger, it means also not to make yourself smaller,
Yeah.
and to know exactly who you are.
Beautiful.
So um and they also say, like, I've also studied like in the world of psychology as well, it's talked about when always beating yourself up and making yourself small, that's also a form of ego. it's like the opposite side of it's like the wrong kind of pride or ego. Because why, like you said, like why do I believe that I need to make myself smaller? Why can't I just be me?
Yeah. And it's a good point, like I think Aristotle said that the golden mean, like the middle way, the golden middle way is like not, I would say, not to make us bigger or than we are or blow up our ego, and also not make ourselves smaller. And that's a real task, to find ourselves, to really understand what we are, or also understand that we can't really know what we truly are, because all of this is a mystery. I mean, why is there anything rather than nothing? Just alone that, just us being here, just this, what we think that this is and what we think that we are or other people are, matter, planets, trees, animals, like technology. What is that? I mean, obviously something is happening, like there is an experience that we're having, but what is it? So that's a mystery. And yeah, to find good balance in the end, I feel taking good care of our bodies, drinking enough water, going outside, doing
Yeah.
what we love, being kind to people, like the keys to a good life, I feel, are quite simple. And
Yeah.
maybe I'm, of course, somehow, let's say, privileged or whatever, that I think this way. I'm aware. But yeah, like the simple things, I believe, help me to just kind of relax and be at ease, and not also get so heady about the things, like, oh, who
Yeah.
am I,
Yeah.
who am I not, am I making myself bigger, or am I like
Yeah.
being too humble?
Yeah.
How humble is too humble?
Yeah.
How confident is full of myself? I
Yeah.
think if we just do the practice, sleep enough, eat good food, do what
Yeah.
we love, and also,
Take the
share.
right
Yeah.
basic actions, and
Yes, take the
it
right
will it
basic
will work
actions.
out. Okay,
Yes,
so
it'll
I
all
want to
work
I want
out.
to ask a question, and I hope it comes out in the right way. What's it like? What's it been like for you as a German person coming to Israel to play music, meeting the people here, and is there any sort of feeling of some sort of, I don't know, spiritual element to it, or like what's your experience been like? Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Big one. I mean, first of all, I'm half German. Um, but yeah, there was a moment where we were freestyling after ecstasy by the beach, the ecstatic
Hmm.
dance by the beach. I don't know if
Yeah,
you were
which was
there,
amazing. Yeah.
which were great stuff. And then everyone was, taking down the event. People left, and I stayed. And I said, oops, because I just had to stay late because I was going with the person who took down the sound system. So we were drumming with some people and just having fun, kind of like an unofficial after party. And then at some point it was like freestyle rapping, and then of course it was English. And then I was like, I freestyle in German, and then I even asked a friend later, an Israeli friend, and I was like, "What's that?" I don't know. I was like, with the German language in Israel, maybe that's a little bit, confronting or inappropriate. And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, it's good to be aware, maybe, And I said, and I noticed the moment. I was like, as a German, when I start to talk German, of course, that's a thing in Israel. But I also felt like, okay, it's part of who I am, and I try
Yes.
to, just like really go into my northern dialect, which is kind of very a soft, soft
Mm.
type of German.
And not to mention that Berlin has one of the the largest Israeli communities
Yeah.
in like the whole world. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I have a lot of Israeli friends, and I'm very happy about that. I grew up in the countryside and had no contact to Israelis, and also other foreigners, like not from Europe, like not so much, apart from our own family. um, and then,
You're
you
half
know,
German, and then what's the
and
other half?
Haiti.
Ah, you're Haitian. Cool.
I'm Haitian. My mother is from Haiti, and so I'm mixed, and so I'm connected, of course, to realities outside of Europe. But yeah, then later on, I met Israelis. I made friends with Israelis, and also at some point got invited to play in Israel. I was there 3 times in the last 15 months or so,
Yeah, I think I was
roundabout.
at like all of your stuff. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
And yeah, of course, it's like, wow. I mean, last time I came to Israel was yeah, just like a couple of months ago in October 2024, just last year. And yeah, I mean, oh wow, just a sec. Um, just got a call. Okay, all good. Yeah,
We'll be finishing up soon.
yeah. No worries. So yeah, I mean, one friend said like, "Hey, I heard you're going to Israel," and I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Don't go," like if I were you, I wouldn't go. Or she said, "Don't go." And also, when I was there, many
The
Israelis were
the
like,
war
"Well,
started. Yeah.
yeah, well, that was the year before." But I mean, yeah, people ask me. When I was there recently, why did you come? Like, are you crazy? And then I was like, am I crazy? Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, of
I might
course,
have been one of the people asking you that question
yeah,
at the Midbar Festival.
yeah. I know exactly. Like people were like, "Are you crazy?" And then I lost my. I guess I can
You
say
lost
that
your
now.
phone, your iPhone.
Yes, you remember,
Yeah.
and you know what you said. You don't have to worry so much in Israel. You don't have to worry so much about lost iPhones.
I said no one's gonna steal it.
Yeah, you know what's called a seal it. You don't have to worry so much about lost phones. You have to worry about bombs. That's what you said, brother.
Yeah,
And and I,
and then we jammed. Yeah.
and then we jammed and we laughed and was like, wow, like this type of cynicism and jokes no one else can make but Israelis. And I learned that there is like a certain way to deal with the trauma also that
Mm,
goes also through humor and through like what the
absolutely.
fuck, like it's
Yeah.
crazy that reality, but let's make the best of it. And it felt good to be there and to not let war stop me from doing what I love and to be with family and friends. And that's the way I feel.
So I'm gonna share one quick thing, and then we'll just do a quick like
Yeah,
summary, kind of finishing up.
yeah,
So about I want to say 6 years ago or something like that, I was involved in this group. I don't want to get too much into the detail, but basically, it was like a support group that's also very spiritual, and we were literally meeting in a building in Jerusalem, right next to the prime minister's home. Okay, and it was people from around the world. I'm American, and there was my friend from South Africa, and another guy from I don't know California, and then there was two guys who came from Berlin, and these were like heavy Germans, like real Germans. Okay, maybe in their 50s. And there was like this moment where it just hit me in my like spirit. I was like, this thought came to me. I was like, this dude's grandfather and my grandfather could have been fucking like mortal enemies. And
mm,
we're sitting here next to each other, supporting each other and like connecting spiritually. And I just felt at that moment like that's, and we're literally in like the heart of Jerusalem, you know, like
Mm.
it just blew my mind how, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 years later, how we have the ability to connect in ways that we could like fix a lot of the crap that was. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, totally, totally. And music and dance seems to be one way, you know, like I really feel I have friends in Israel, and I tell people, I was like, wow, when I came to Israel the first time, I really felt like, wow, such a warm welcome. And also now when I was there, the support and the love and the appreciation is like really very touching. And I'm very happy about that.
Awesome. Yes, we did it.
We
So
did it.
let's just take like a minute or two at the end to take a deep breath together and to set an intention for what we want to take away from our meeting today. Um, and to kind of hold it and to set it as an intention for energy we want to bring back into our life together. Okay, awesome. Thank you
Awesome.
so much to Pascal Delacaze for
Thank you for that.
gracing me and for being here with me and exploring the world of music and meditation and spirituality and connection and thinking out loud together about how to bring better energy into the world.
Thank you. It was a pleasure, Seth. Thanks for having me. And yeah, see you soon.
Awesome, man. And of course, uh, I can stop the recording.